What's up, guys?
It's going great. How about you?
Well, what brings you to the Flat Earth channel?
Just to see what people think. I was curious to know, are there people that believe the Earth is globe?
I don't know. Is there anyone here who believes the Earth's a globe?
I don't. Are you? Do you?
No, I don't believe in that.
Hey, Robert, you're a globe, isn't it, Rob? Maybe you want to talk to Psyclone about the globe?
What's up, Rob?
With who?
Me.
Who's me?
Me. I'm
You
me.
said the Psyclone.
Oh, Psyclone.
Yeah. Who's that?
Yeah, it starts with P, actually.
What?
I know, very confusing.
No, but
Yeah,
it has to be okay. P-S-Y-C-L-O-N-E. Cycle. Okay. S-Y-C-L-E. C-Y-C-L-A. Okay. My bad.
Yeah, Rob,
Yes,
you said you had
hello.
a question about the globe. Maybe you want to ask a question to Psyclone?
Me? No, I don't have any. It was
No, you said
somebody
Rob.
else, somebody Muslim.
Well,
Ask your question
I've
about
asked
the
my
globe.
question.
Yeah, that's right. Do it. Ask your question, Rob.
I've just asked it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Say it again.
I didn't hear it.
No, it's about the globe, and the guy there, he answered me.
What was that?
I was talking about the geography sessions, and where the teacher used to teach us that the Earth is globe. That's
Yeah, your teacher taught you the Earth was a globe, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my teacher taught me the same thing. And their teacher taught them the same thing. But
No.
the question is that true?
Okay.
So what evidence did your teacher give you?
No evidence, actually.
No, they just told you?
Yeah.
And since then, have you found any evidence yourself?
I'm working on that. I'm seeking knowledge, actually, at the current time.
Okay. Well, basically, what the globe belief hinges on are these images and videos that we get from a handful of governmental organizations like NASA and the Russian equivalent, right? So they give us these images. But when we go to test in reality what these images show us, the curving water, it's not there. It doesn't exist. The water doesn't curve, it just lies flat as far as can be observed and measured.
Okay.
So the ground itself, the earth, is not a ball. It's a topographical plane, you know? So the water is level and flat, and then you've got all the land sticking out of it, hills and valleys, and it's not moving anywhere. It's stationary, just like you experience. You don't experience the ground to be moving unless you're in an earthquake or something. So it's topographical motionless plane, and it's also contained. It's a closed system, right? It's not spinning around in a vacuum of space. We're not in space.
Okay.
So there you go. That's basically it. Any questions?
Not really. Got no questions at the current time. Maybe later.
There you go.
Okay,
Well,
thank
you
you.
can sit and think about it, and then if you think of any questions, you can just ask.
Yeah. I should.
All right. Nice, easy one to start the day.
Could I ask a question?
You can.
What was the? Did you always believe the Earth is flat?
No. I believed in the globe for 25 plus years. It's like most other people.
Do you remember what convinced you?
Of the globe?
Yeah, no, of the flat Earth, and also the globe too, I guess.
Well, the globe, I was just taught it at school and encouraged that I had to put this down in the test, and this is what everyone else believed, and I had no reason to assume my teacher wasn't correct. And they showed me images and videos, and I assumed those were true and correct depictions of reality. It wasn't until I was older that someone challenged me to prove that the water that we observe is actually curving in order to be a sphere. And through a fairly simple process, you can show that that's not the case. When I did that, I had to accept that it wasn't what I thought it was. And when it comes to the flat, well, what makes me think it's flat, that's how it measures and observes and is practically used. So when we go out into the world and we practically observe, measure, and use the Earth, it's just flat and motionless. The globe is only seen on TV and in textbooks, on a screen. See?
So it was, if I'm summarizing it correctly, it was seeing that the water couldn't curve, or the curvature
Well,
of
more
water
specifically,
was.
it's seeing further than we should be able to if the surface was curving down and away from us, right? Because if you're on a ball, like imagine you're an ant on a basketball, there's a physical limit to that geometry based on the curvature. So it'll curve away from you to a point where you can no longer see beyond a certain part of the surface. Well, when we take what they claim the globe size is, and we measure that geometry and look for that obstruction, it doesn't exist. It's not measurable. It's not detectable. The water just keeps going flat when it should have been cut off miles before by curvature. You see? Do you understand?
Oh, yeah. Like, was it someone else? I think did you say someone else kind of suggested that, and then that's kind of what triggered it?
Yeah, I heard
The
that
thought
people were.
process
I
of
heard that. Yeah,
testing.
I heard that people were doing this. Right. So what happened? What's happened is consumer technology has caught up to the globe story. Right. So for the longest time, you could say, "Oh yeah, the water looks flat, but it's just so big as a ball that it looks flat." And in actual fact, over a certain distance beyond what we can observe, it starts to curve. That was the claim, and there was not really any good way to test that. But in more recent years, consumer cameras and optics have reached a certain level where you can actually go and test this, or you can do long distance observations fairly easily, 10 plus miles, 15 miles, 20 miles, 30 miles, and you can compare what you're observing to what you should be observing if you were on a ball, the size they claim, and they don't match. Reality doesn't match the story in the textbooks when you look at the numbers and the distances that we should be able to see. So yeah, someone mentioned this, and I ended up going out and buying a camera with a very high power zoom and started just doing observations around near where I live, and found that I could also see too far. And then that was it. It's kind of like, well, what am I going to do at this point? I've seen firsthand that the curvature isn't obstructing. It's not apparent. It's not detectable. So I either have to ignore reality as I'm experiencing it and go with that story in the textbooks, or I have to admit that the textbooks were wrong. That's what I did.
Mm-hmm. With is it on a like a emotional level? Like, how does it feel like to have been lied to for 26 years, and that you assume that you were lied to, I guess, or do you assume that they were
Oh
just
no, not
misled
necessarily. Because I mean, who
people?
would have had to lie to me? So my teacher didn't lie to me. They were just teaching what they were told to teach me,
Mm-hmm.
and what they were told. It's like a tradition. It's like a cultural tradition at this point, almost like Santa Claus, but you never get the, oh, by the way, Santa Claus doesn't actually exist. So you just kind of go along with it. and it wasn't like I felt like they were lying to me. Now, when I found out that a bunch of the NASA footage and the NASA claims were false, I mean, that is a lie. And yeah, that can be a lot to take, because you're like, well, that calls into question basically everything we've been told about our reality in terms of the Earth, what it is as a system, what that implies about how human beings got here in the first place, how long we've been here for, what the purpose is. I mean, it calls into question all of those things. So it's a lot to think about when you first find out. But over the years, you learn to, I suppose, compartmentalize it and put them in the appropriate boxes and understand, right, well, at the end of the day, if I'm interested in truth and what's true, and I want to navigate this earth and this life as best as I can, I want to have the best information available, even if it's painful. So you've kind of just got to make that decision. What are you going to go with? An uncomfortable truth or a comfortable lie? And then that's kind of up to you.
Was the process uncomfortable to discover this truth?
Yeah. I mean, I think for everyone, it's an uncomfortable process to realize that what you thought about where you live and what this reality is completely wrong and has been for your whole conscious life. I mean, that's an uncomfortable thing, but it's worth going through that process. It's like an ego death times 100, but it's worth going through, because when you get out the other side, your mind is more critical and you have a better ability to discern reality and what's actually going on, and therefore a better ability to navigate your life, I would say. But yeah, it is an uncomfortable process.
Mm. Which
is why a lot of people,
of 0 to 100.
Well, I was going to say, this is why a lot of people avoid the topic, either by not engaging it, not thinking about it, or when they do talk about it, they use logical fallacies and emotional arguments and insults, whatever it is. Some people just can't discuss this because it's too painful for them. But if you can have
the
the
way that it
conversation,
gets discussed about, it gets insulted a lot, as I'm sure you know. I mean, like I would imagine, most people come in here to just have a laugh.
Yeah, they do.
But then if
they listen for a few minutes, they quickly change their tune because they realize it's no joke. This is the most serious subject you're ever going to discuss. Like, this is the most literally world-changing conversation you can have.
Is it because of the scope of the lie? Or is there other implications you see?
It's not the scope of the lie, it's the implications about reality and creation and life. Right? Because the globe, it's not just a story about the ground being a spinning ball. It's an entire creation narrative, right? From the Big Bang to gravity forming balls in an infinite universe. It's all of that. And when that's taken off the table, you have to explore these most human of questions that people have been asking for thousands of years, but we in the last few hundred years have essentially been robbed of the ability to ask those questions. And we've been told, oh, it's been figured out by a bunch of scientists that you can't question, or you'll be ostracized from society. But this opens that up again. And that's the big thing about it. It's not so much about why or who or how they've lied. Although, of course, you'll ask those questions and there is information around that. But no, the real thing is like, well, then what is our situation? How did this Earth get here? If it's a motionless topographical plane that's contained, it can't have come about by a big bang and then mass just randomly coalescing. It was designed, it was put here, it was made. So we are the inhabitants of a greater being's creation, is what it's telling us. And then we have to go from there and start figuring things out basically from scratch.
Did you believe in a God before the flat Earth or belief, or
I
was it
wouldn't have
after,
said I wouldn't have said I
or both,
no, I mean I wasn't atheist by any means. I
or
wasn't
creator?
exactly religious. Yeah, I kind of instinctively felt like there was a creator, but I wasn't one of these people that would like to argue about it or make the case, because I understood or thought back then that it was essentially just a matter of faith from top to bottom. When in reality, this is why this question, this topic is so controversial and dynamite, because it's essentially scientific proof, if you want to call it that, empirical proof of a creator, a designer, and the fact that we're in a designed system. That's why this is so censored and locked away under algorithms and online censorship, because it challenges the entire modern dogma that the Western world especially enshrines, which is Big Bang, evolution, globe in space, all of that. This erases it.
On if it's like a scale of 0 to 100, with 100 being that you're certain of the truth that the Earth is flat, and 0 being that you're unsure, like absolutely have no belief in it, like where would you be at from 0 to 100 of knowing like the certainty of the truth of the claim?
Well, I mean,
Or the
you might find
proposition?
this hard to you might find this hard to accept, but it's 100. It's 100%. Like, it's one of the few
Mhm.
things in life that you can be sure of. And although you frame it as a claim, which I understand why, I wouldn't really frame
How
it
would
as
you
a
want me to
claim.
frame it?
Well, it's what we experience directly as human beings. It's our default reality, right? When we go out, we don't experience curvature or motion. So that's what we're talking about. It is what we experience. So to me, that's just like living the default experience. It's only after that that someone comes along and says, "Oh, it's actually curved, a big sphere, and it's spinning. It's moving in all these different directions. It's in a vacuum of space." Those are additional claims. Those are beliefs. Those are claims. What I'm talking about is just what every human being in all history has experienced directly when it comes to the Earth.
Out of the pieces of evidence, actually, let me ask you one thing before that. What were you on the like, the only reason I'm going to call it a claim is just claims can be true, right? As you just said, you could believe 100% true. So I'm not trying to devalue it by calling it.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I was
So
just clarifying my perspective on that.
yeah. Before, like you believed in that it was 100% true. Where do you think you were at on the proposition that the Earth is flat when maybe a year before, if you had to go from 0 to 100?
Well, it's gradual. I mean, you don't go from 0 to 100 overnight, obviously. But I mean, I've been
So
speaking about
0?
this and looking into this for like 7 years. So at the beginning, I mean, I hadn't really. I don't know. I suppose there was a few side things which already gave it not a 0% chance in my mind, because I mean, I already knew that the moon landings were fake, for example, before I understood flat Earth.
Mm.
I understood that there were some problems with the modern cosmological model that was being taught. So when I heard the proposition that, hey, yeah, that is all wrong, it wasn't like I was like, nah, there's no chance that that's the case. But it also wasn't like I'm ready to just accept that it's flat. No, it takes some time to go through that. Although, and it can be massive. Like, some people can take years to accept it. Some people can figure it out in a matter of days, maybe even hours. And I would say I was generally on the quicker side to accept that it was beyond a reasonable doubt, at least, that it was flat, just based on the empirical evidence, right? The observations, the measurements that were being done. And then when you go and do it yourself, and you see the same thing, you see far in excess of what should be geometrically possible, you don't have an option unless you want to. Well, what they do now is they pretty much claim that you're seeing around a curve and it's just looking flat, but that's just a religious cope. You have to delude yourself into saying, "Oh, I didn't see that," or whatever. You know, it's like Pandora's box. Once it's open, once you see it, you can't put it back. You can't forget it. It's always there. So it's a gradual thing, but I mean, there's not really any going back from your own direct observations and measurements.
If you had to think of the piece of evidence that you encountered that increased your confidence the most, because you said there was multiple, which one was the one that
There's
increased your
endless.
confidence in the certainty of the claim?
Well, if you want, I'll send you a link to our home server where we've saved a whole load of misinformation. There's terabytes of it. Because like I said, on YouTube and Google and things, they censor the topics. So chances of you finding some good information, good tests and observations are slim unless someone directly links you them. So are you part of our home server? Could you explain it to me,
like verbally?
Yeah, like laser test.
I'm not comfortable joining another server. I just kind of want to understand how you're, like, what led you to jump up in the claim. Like, just to understand where you're kind of coming from.
The long distance observations and the laser tests. So the laser tests are basically someone testing line of sight. How far can we shoot a laser across a lake, for example? Right, because on the globe model, the lake has to be curving down and away, deviating from the horizontal of the laser. Yeah. So at a certain distance, if you set up a target, it should be apparent whether the laser is hitting the target or whether it's going over due to the curvature. You understand?
Do you think the other fields are, it makes sense. Do you think the other fields of science are also suspect outside of, like, I would guess, actually, that's a good question. Like, which fields of the science do you find the most suspect after this, or most responsible for this? Because I know it would
the obvious one is astronomy. The obvious one is astronomy.
Yeah,
because it's not a science, because you can't do science with the stars, right? Science. I mean, we could talk for hours about the state of science and what's probably more accurately called scientism in the modern age, where people think if you're wearing a white lab coat and you say something, it's science. But no, science is a very specific method of elucidating cause and effect relationships in the natural world, understanding the natural world. Well, astronomy is not that, because you've only just got observation of the luminaries, the sun, moon, and stars. You don't have any ability to manipulate or test them. So they're taking observations and then working around their theory framework of balls of gas and rock and ice and whatever else floating around a giant vacuum. They're all looking at it through that lens, but they've got no way of actually confirming that that is the case. They're just observing the patterns of lights and the movements of light and the dimming and the brightening of lights. They're not going to them to confirm what they are, or how far away they are, or what medium they're in, how they work. They don't know any of that. So it's essentially like a whole load of storytelling. That's why 98% of the stuff you see is just cartoon, CGI, artistic imaginings.
Do you find some of the related, I'm not going to call it sciences because you don't like the term, but like fields around it, academic fields around it, to be also questionable, such as physics or chemistry or mathematics, or
Well, those are,
or do you?
physics and chemistry. I mean, if you're dealing with the empirical natural world, then that's good. That's fine. That's what I'm in support of. That is science. You can actually do some tests. But it's when you start leaving the realms of science and you start saying, well, if I imagine that the Earth is a ball, and then I imagine that there's a big force pulling things towards the center of it, then I can assume that the reason this thing falls is because it's being pulled towards the center of a big ball. That's when you're leaving the realm of science. So no, chemistry's fine. Do experiments. Physics is fine. Physics should be like, imagine you're in a computer game. You're just trying to elucidate, highlight, and quantify the physics that exists in the game. Right, the stuff that you can all experience and take part in. So that's fine. That's exactly what we're interested in. But when you start saying, "Oh, well, we've sent some guy to one of the lights in the sky, and the physics are different. So this is moon physics, and it's like gate kept by 0.0000001% of the population, supposedly doing this kind of thing, and everyone else just has to believe along." That's not science. That's just propaganda.
Mm-hmm. The like when it comes to it, like the belief is the belief in of a creator, a supreme creator. With that, like I'm not trying to be offensive, but with that claim, or maybe belief is better. With that belief, on the level of certainty behind that belief, would it be from 0 to 100%? Where do you think you would be with that claim after you believed in the flat Earth, like today?
Well, as far as it stands, the only conceivable option for there being a motionless, contained topographical plane, the system of the complexity that we have here, it can only be intelligently designed. So, yeah, I'm pretty certain of that as well.
Like with a number, like would it? I don't.
I don't feel like I need to put a number on it,
but
I mean, yeah, it's like it's 100. I mean, there's no other option.
100 as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
was it?
Feel free to conceive
Did it
of another way.
increase after believing in the flat Earth, or was it like kind of 100 beforehand too?
No, yeah, it certainly increased because I understood that the system that we inhabit can only come about by some kind of intelligent design. Again, that's what I'm telling you. That's why this topic is censored, because it's essentially physical proof of intelligent design. And you'll understand that's very controversial, especially in the Western world.
Why do you think people would want to suppress the belief in intelligent design?
For power and control, essentially weakening society to be able to be more easily manipulated to do things that they want them to do, that their beliefs otherwise might make them resist doing. I mean, you could speculate all day on why.
What would be some of this corruption? Is it like, I don't want to speculate about it because I could have some ideas about what the corruption is, but you could believe like different things about what the corruption is.
What do you mean? What
that they think that it'll be easy? Because I think you mentioned like there's like the reason they're doing it with suppressing the truth about intelligent design is because it makes it easier to I'm probably using the wrong word, maybe use a different word, but like corrupt people.
Well, just think like if you're a group of people who want to have control over a mass of people, and that mass of people subscribes to a particular rule set of behavior that's enshrined through, let's say, their scripture. If you can make them abandon that scripture, you can present them with new rules of behavior. And that's what's happened. So that's a very obvious example of mass manipulation and control, feasibly. I mean, I'm not these people, so
I got you.
But a pretty obvious example.
So their goal is to get people to move away from scripture, and they're creating this lie
Well,
to
I'm not going to say this is
drive
what they're
people away
doing. I'm
from
just saying that that's a plausible example of why this kind of manipulation of our reality serves a group of people who might want control. But again, I mean, that doesn't tie into why I think it is the case. I mean, it's about measurement and geometry, but obviously you're going to have those questions about who and why. But again, like you say, that's just speculation at the end of the day.
Yeah, I understand. Like, I just thought it was interesting to see the like what could be some possible motives from your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I can say about what potential motives they could have, but I would summarize it by just saying it's power and control over the masses in a number of ways.
Do you think it's outside of government, or do you think it's just almost all on the government?
Well, yeah, it's beyond government. The government's essentially just a tool to institute a lot of this. I mean, the government isn't the ultimate seat of power in this world, even to the globe mind or the globe side of things. So yeah, it's bigger than that.
Well, like what do you think is the ultimate seat of power on the globe side, if not the government?
Well, I mean, even just on paper, I mean, the governments are beholden to the institutions that loan them money, aren't they? That's just one corporeal example. So you've got private financial institutions controlling governments. I mean, that's well known and understood. And then the people behind these private institutions, less is known. So, I mean, when you get to the ultimate, like who's who, I wouldn't claim to know. I mean, you could have some reasonable speculations, I'm sure, but you need to look at the history of where all this came from to understand certain players and societies and organizations that have been involved, from Greek philosophers like Pythagoras and the Pythagorean cult to the Roman Catholic Church and all these governments. I mean, it's a long and storied history as to how we arrived at this belief, but it's worth investigating if you're interested in how all this came to be the case. Anyway, I'm going to have to dip off for a bit and do some work, but it was good to talk to you, and I'm sure there's some other people here that will pick up on your questions. Yeah, we're here 24/7, so check out YouTube channel and all that, and then you can come back. But yeah, speak to these guys. I'll listen in for a bit.
The reason I mentioned calculus is because someone in here mentioned optics, that it doesn't work because of the optics, right? And optics is actually a field that was pushed forward by Isaac Newton quite a bit. Okay, that's why I mentioned it. And in order to be able to understand optics, you have to know calculus. That's why I asked you guys if any of you guys know calculus, because you guys are making claims about optics.
So if it helped you understand optics better,
you can't read these papers.
Dude, hello.
You can't read these papers.
I think you stopped. Dude.
You don't have the skills to know. You don't have the skills. You don't have the mathematical capability to understand it.
Teach me about optics. You're just gonna.
It also depends on which branch of calculus, dude, right? Because Leibniz came up with a form of calculus that's different. In which case, you wouldn't be able to read Newton's papers, right?
The calculus is the same. They just use a different notation.
Yeah, you got to learn the notations. My point.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, now you know who you're talking with. Somebody who might understand a thing or two. Carry on.
Yeah, like I'm not saying you guys are like. I'm not trying to call you guys like dumb. By the way, like you guys are obviously very smart.
Oh, good, because I was wondering.
I just want you guys to. Yeah. So the like my point is just that when it comes to like it could just be really good to like kind of go into these things, but when it comes to optics, you guys are making claims about optics that kind of means that the whole idea that there's different time zones and the sun sets, but the sun is still up in half the world despite its setting, I don't think it makes sense when it comes to the flat Earth model that the sun sets, but
I
it's
need to
still up
stop you right here.
halfway across the world.
You're the one making claims about optics, number one. Number two, you're the one making a claim, a straw man, about a flat Earth model that nobody here has brought up. Number three, I already addressed this question with a response, which you avoided, decided to go into, do you guys know calculus? So I'm a little frustrated because I feel like my time has been wasted. Light attenuates through a medium. Are you aware that if you were to look at the magnitude of the sun when it's directly above the horizon and compare that to the magnitude of the sun when it's directly overhead, it's 27,000 times brighter. This is not predicted by any globe or astrophysics model. This is using the Laplace extinction theorem. What's really interesting is stars don't exhibit the same behavior. Little food for thought.
Why do you think, just outside of the questions, right? Why do you think that all of the other things that we observe in the sky are going to become spheroid, but the only thing that's going to become flat in the universe is the Earth?
All right, so you've got a baked-in presumption that Earth is like the things in the sky, in the same category. From my vantage point, the things in the sky are nothing like Earth whatsoever. Earth provides a floor, a foundation for all the objects that we see doing really, really formulations in the sky. And those objects in the sky could, in fact, be spherical for all I care.
Yeah, so when like Galileo kind of, found, for example, because do you guys say that an orbit doesn't happen, right? Around
It does.
the
It's a
Earth
way
going
to
around the
track
sun, right?
well, I mean, we can track the objects in the sky, right? And then we can apply a coordinate reference system. As long as we retain the proper ratios and timing, we can take any object and create any reference frame out of it. And then all the objects move with respect to that reference frame. My question to you that I'd posit is whether or not Earth is moving at all.
Yeah, I think the Earth is moving, but like when it comes to
we don't.
do you guys believe in the geocentric model?
Well, in a sense,
Or
flat
the
Earth is geocentric. This is the foundation, the floor of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
So
we don't have any evidence that there's outer space below our feet, below some pad of dirt somewhere.
Yeah, so when it comes to it, right, the idea is that essentially the Earth is stationary, right? But the thing is that everything orbits around the Earth, right? That's the idea in the geocentric model. Is
right,
that
the Earth is a globe is principle. Yeah, we don't think that.
Yeah. So okay, whatever. The flat Earth, right? That the flat Earth, right, is has orbits. You have the sun, you have the moon, you have the all the other celestial, like the planets, right? They're orbiting the Earth in the geocentric
they're
model.
making circuits is probably a better word for it. Like you can dig into Egyptian and Sumerian cosmology. They were great at tracking cycles over long periods of time of all the celestial objects that they could see.
If you call it a circuit instead of calling it an orbit, like how does it change it?
Well, I think it's a bit clearer because when people think of orbit, they immediately think of a ball with an object like a satellite going around and around and around and around it. So what I'm telling you is that we don't accept that flat Earth has what's called an embedding space in differential geometry. There's no way to prove it if it does.
I mean, it's cool that you believe in like magic.
No, it's not. I'll tell you what magic is. Magic is thinking that you live on a ball. Every time that you watch a sunset, that you believe that you're rotating backwards instead of watching the sun actually set.
Okay,
right? What
cool.
you see is what
But
you
when it
get
comes
with
to it,
this.
right? Look, when it comes to it, you don't have like a good explanation when it comes to like
Well, that's just
everything
your
in
opinion.
the that we look
Yeah,
when
listen,
we
I
look
can come up
into
with
celestial
amazing
body.
explanations. You can go on TikTok right now and find crackhead flat Earth explanations for everything.
I'm sure.
Right.
I'm
Just
sure,
like,
but I mean, like the
let me give you an
like
example of
we
space
moved away.
magic. All right, explanations. Talk about explanations. Eratosthenes, who provided the seed value for the globe that followed in, surveying and geodesy, right? When he looked at the sun, he assumed, I'm going to measure these diverging rays from two different locations from that point source. But I believe that those rays aren't really diverging. I believe those rays are in fact parallel.
Look, I didn't come in here to debate.
Well,
Like
that's
initially,
space
that wasn't
magic.
my goal. I wanted to see. Yeah, like look, I did, like,
Right.
and I think this is like it got me riled up, but like I got dragged into a debate. I got asked some questions and I wanted to answer them honestly. Okay, because I was asking questions in here. I wanted to see where people that are flat earthers were coming from. You
Well,
know,
we're not in a game of providing the best
the
explanation. We're in a game of providing the best data that we can support with verifiable evidence and using logic and reason.
that's a like here. Let me ask. Is it okay if I ask you like more questions, but like just more about how you're processing it?
Yeah, if it's okay that I may occasionally butt in to correct a misperception, some kind of presumption or fallacy.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, like 100%. Like when it comes to your confidence in the flat Earth, like how confident would you say you are that it's
I'm
a true
100%
claim?
confident that Earth is not the globe we've been taught. Now, what flat Earth means, it could mean different things conceptually to different people. But I am here to tell you I have 100% confidence
Mhm.
that Earth is not a spinning globe in outer space. It's not a globe at all.
Okay. So the globe model, you're 0% confident on.
Correct, yeah.
When it the like what do you think is the like did you always believe that it was 0% when it comes
No.
to your confidence in the globe theory, or did you believe in it at one point and then you lost like belief in it?
I started looking into this question about 5 years ago when I first heard about flat Earth, and I thought it was the dumbest thing I'd ever heard in my life.
Mhm.
Boy, was I wrong. I mean,
Yeah.
one of the first places I went to settle this was looking at surveying, the history of surveying and geodesy. Because if anybody is claiming to measure the Earth's surface, it's going to be the surveyors who claim to have been doing it for hundreds of years. That's where I started looking. And I took the radius challenge because I kept hearing from flat earthers that the radius value has never been confirmed or validated by any means. It was always assumed to exist, and all measurements have subsequently been taken place to conform to a radius assumption. And it turns out that that's absolutely 100% factually correct. Nobody's actually measured the curvature of the Earth. It's been assumed.
Mhm.
And that is a starting point that I think is entirely valid.
Mhm. What do you think? Do you think that was the biggest piece of evidence that led you to lose like faith in the globe theory?
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. It's because knowing that there has never been a valid curvature measurement in the first instance or any instance, then it leads me to wonder how the heck society got it so wrong for so long. And it became harder for me to accept that society could be deluded with this globe fantasy than it is to accept the reality and the facts of the matter. Number one, the globe has never been measured. Number two, when it is attempted, it's measured flat.
The
It has to be, yeah. Just has to be.
when it comes when it comes to the people that are like around you in your life, like are most of them like globers?
Oh
Are
yeah,
most of
of
them like
course.
flat earthers?
Of course they are. And you know what? I don't bring it up with them
The,
unless they want to bring it up with me, plain and simple. And I know full well that people who are flat earthers are considered to be stupid or crazy or conspiracy theorists. And I'm here to tell you the 24/7 flat earth crew, we're not like that. We aren't here for the conspiracy theory. We're not here to make fantastic speculations about other worlds beyond the ice wall, or if there even is an ice wall. So, I mean, I know full well that flat earth has a stigma, a huge social stigma, and there's a huge social cost to anyone who pursues this interest and does so faithfully.
Well, listen, I'll just chime in. I disagree. It hasn't affected my social life one bit, except that the people around, a couple have switched, I guess, over, and the other ones just know not to bring it up because I'll destroy them. And we have
Yeah,
fun.
like I work in an office where half of them are flat earthers. I mean, but in like my immediate life and immediate surroundings, I mean, I know where I am, and I know that this can be a third rail topic, and it can cause disaster in the proper settings. Like you don't want to be at a family reunion, like you don't want to be at a funeral or Thanksgiving and try and flat smack your relatives,
That is true. Yeah.
right?
wait, that's a funny word, like flat smack. Is that a
Yeah,
part of like the lingo and the crew here?
yeah. Because some
If you like
people,
bring up the discussion that you're flat smacking someone, kind of thing.
yeah, yeah. It kind of became popular because during and after the lockdown economy that happened, people associated with our community were going out in public and setting up information kiosks and bullhorning the public and flat smacking everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Some activism.
That's the are most flat earthers like from the US, or is it like people from outside that like kind of come here?
I'm surprised to say that there are a lot of international flat earthers. There's a huge contingent of Australians.
Mm-hmm. Like politically, like do flat earthers lean mostly like right wing, left wing, center, or like apolitical?
Apolitical, total,
Like non-voters kind of thing.
yeah,
Like
apathetic to
just
politics.
distrust everyone.
Not really
Okay.
distrust. It's no reason to trust.
Yeah. Because they both believe in like everyone, all the sides believe in like the globe theory, right? So I mean, then they're all part of it.
Yeah, I mean, being a part of it is being a part of just the social milieu. Everybody believes in the globe because everybody believes in the globe. There's no reason to doubt it because everybody believes in it.
Is it a like difficult to like kind of like communicate about it or get along with like loved ones who are like globers?
It depends. I mean, we've all got family members that may disagree with us on a political or moral topic. You know, pick up abortion instead of the flat Earth topic, right? You're going to run into people who are impassionate about it.
Yeah.
You can really ruffle people's feathers. It really depends. And this topic, if you were to stick around and just watch and listen to our interactions with random people who come by our spaces, whether here or the home server or other servers that we occupy, you're going to see an interesting psychology.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like that's what I'm like kind of fascinated with here, like and kind of listening in as well with the and like my guess is, and you guys could tell me if this is right or wrong, is that a lot of the people that are going to come in here, they're going to come in here trying to like kind of snicker and laugh at some flat earthers, right? Who like are going to be like so stupid and they're going to be crazy, but then they're going to come in here and they're going to get a little flat smacked, right?
Yeah.
Because they really haven't, like for most people when it comes to physics or astronomy, like they really have like a middle school kind of level of just
Yeah.
repeating after and kind of taking it on authority. They haven't really taken like high level courses. Like I've barely taken any. Like I've only taken like 1 or 2. You know, if I hadn't taken those 2 and they came in here, I honestly would have been like just confused. Like a lot of the points that you guys are making here, I would have like not known how to like respond to them, and I still really don't know like all that much. You know, like, and I'm just incredibly ignorant on a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people come in here and they're gonna realize that they actually don't know that much about.
That's a big part of it. Yep. We're trying to
Yeah.
get people to dig into separating their beliefs from true knowledge. And
Exactly.
it does expose a lot. It exposes a huge deficit, and it's scary. It's psychologically uncomfortable for people to realize that what they thought was true for so long is actually very difficult to prove, and I would say impossible.
Well, you guys
Right.
are recognizing that a lot of their people's opinions about astronomy is people like making appeals to authority. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
and them not
consensus.
really knowing it. Yeah, and them not really knowing like how it kind of came about the way that it is. These like models, and they're just kind of trusting the experts, quote unquote.
Yeah, there are people today, there are actual like astrophysicists. There's one guy who just retired from Princeton University who's a hardcore geocentrist. He subscribes to the Neo-Tychonian model of the solar system. Dr. Bennett, I think, is his name. And you know, you can hear him. He
like,
doesn't come
just
by here, but he comes by other flatter places. So,
you say he
go
was a
ahead.
physicist?
Oh yeah, he
You say he was
taught
a
at
physicist?
Princeton astrophysics department. He's a published. He's a former faculty member.
Interesting. For an
Yeah.
astrophysicist, I didn't know that. An
Oh yeah,
astrophysicist
it's
was a flat earther. That's news for me.
not flat
Or
Earth,
at
a
least the former one.
geocentrist, but
Geocentric. Okay.
yeah. And you've got
That's
people
interesting
who
too.
used to work at NASA who are flat earthers who are out there. A guy named David Beverly. He used to actually work for NASA and used to set up satellite uplinks and downlinks in Antarctica for NASA. He's a flat earther now. There's a guy in the UK. He goes by the name Dr. John D. He has a PhD in physics and specializes in spectrophotometry. So if anybody knows about optics, it's going to be that guy. And he's taken his laboratory equipment on tours through the UK. Has done long distance laser shining tests for the general public, and has recorded some of this stuff on his YouTube channel. He initially set out to prove that Earth is a globe because he thought flat earthers were nuts. Well, now he's a flat earther. Right. So our community, I think, is fundamentally different from most, if not all others that people see on the internet. So we get the random troll who comes in here because they just got off a bender going through all the dumb flat earth content on TikTok. And they meet us and they encounter something completely different. And they think we're the ones that are trolling.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people assume like flat earthers are trolling. I mean, I don't think anyone I've talked to today has been trolling.
Yeah, thank you.
I think you guys like this is your like the real beliefs that you guys hold. Like, I mean, like clearly, you know, even if I like disagree with you about the idea, yeah, it's like your. I don't say belief like dismissively, you know, like it's your this is like
conviction in the measurements.
Yeah. Like this is the conviction you guys have. The when it comes to it, the like, do you think that it's made your life like holding this belief? Has it made your life like better because now you know the truth? You know, despite the social cost of it.
I would say it's been satisfying intellectually, and to an extent, you know, metaphysically, because I do have a faith life, and my faith life is apart from this completely. But it's been satisfying in many ways. But yeah, I mean, it also brings difficulties of its own. Flat earthers are socially ostracized. Like if I walk into a bar and declare myself a flat earther, like people would want to fight me, or it's ridiculous.
Like, is your interest in like because there's a lot of passion about this topic from like the people that are in here, and it's not just like a curiosity or just like this is kind of neat, or this is like like a fact I've discovered. It seems like there's an ethical component to it too, where it is like something you kind of believe that there's a right and wrong kind of
I'm glad you
happening.
brought that up. I'm so glad you brought that up. There is absolutely an ethical component to this. I think there is an ethical duty for us and for all people sitting at this table to be as rigorous and as academically honest as possible. And if something isn't true, then to call it out. If people cannot prove that Earth is a globe, then they need to be honest about that. We find that there's an unsettling amount of dishonesty from people who defend the globe who come in here. They lie about every little thing, and then they have the gall to ask us, why would people lie?
Mm-hmm.
We've been recording conversations 24/7 for 10 years on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So there's
when it comes to the
overwhelming
most common
content.
lie that you hear.
Huh?
Oh, sorry, I'm interrupting. Like when it comes to the most common lie you hear from the globers, right? As far as their justification that you find unsatisfying, what do you think it is that they come in here with? That they themselves may know it's a lie. Maybe, I don't know if they recognize it or not.
Yeah, an example might be this, and we can get to the why later, I guess. But we may ask somebody, hey, have you ever seen curvature before? And sometimes they'll say yes. Say, oh, great. So where were you when you saw curvature? And then they'll make up a fucking story. Dead serious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it happens every day.
Yeah.
Is it people like pilots, or is it people like that are just like
according to them?
like,
according to them, they're all
pilots.
flying at 50,000 feet. every teenage kid who walks in the room says they saw curvature at 50,000 feet because they're Air Force pilots. Yeah, they're all lying.
We've talked to actual pilots who lie through their teeth too, and some of us are pilots.
Well, then we get honest pilots come through as well, like commercial pilots, and he's like, yeah, you do not see the curve from a plane. He's like, I've never seen it. I don't know why anyone would suggest such a thing. He's like, yeah, I believe it's a globe, but from a plane, you don't see any curvature, right? And this was, a very, very legitimate guy that we had come through here. Quite often, pilots will tell you that in interviews. You don't see it from that height, and that checks out mathematically that you wouldn't.
I haven't done the math on it. I haven't seen it, but
you would only see 0.1% of the surface of the Earth, right? If you have a look at it on a map and you draw a little circle around your maximum distance that you can see 360 degrees around you from that height, it's a tiny circle. You're really not seeing that far from that height. It's not enough to see any curvature. And I mean, I've flown all over the world. I'm always amazed how flat the horizon looks. I've never seen any curvature. Some people say some planes have certain types of windows that have, thick, round, triple-layered glass, and it might make it look like it's curved, but I've never seen that. What I did see, though, was how flat it looked, and then I pulled my camera out, and I'm like, damn, I'm going to film it and then show the guys, in here. And then when I got home, I looked at the footage, I'm like, damn, I can see freaking curvature. But then I noticed when I pan the camera like up and down a little bit, as soon as the horizon will drop below center frame, it will start to curve the wrong way. And when it's slightly above center frame, it's looks like it's curving. When it's right in the center of the frame, it looks like it's completely flat. So maybe sometimes people are looking at footage and thinking they see curvature. I'm not sure, just because of the lens distortion.
Like, how many people do you think that would be necessary in order to hide this truth?
I think it's self-inflicted. I think people believe in the globe so much that they take their scientific instrumentation, they take their physical measurements, and they mathematically contort it to a globe. And there's an actual process for this in surveying. It's called the mathematical reduction of the horizontal datum. what they do is they conjure a mathematical ball, so a wireframe mesh of a certain dimension, and then they take their surveyed measurements, which are flat, and then they wrap it to the outside surface of that mathematical ball. And this has been going on for hundreds of years.
Yeah, that's essentially what the globe is and how the globe was created, right? It's a theoretical, mathematical concept which originated from the theoretical concept of the way that we view the sky or map out the sky into a coordinate system. That's what the globe is. It doesn't exist in reality. It exists basically as a model. And then when we go out and test, and then people say that the model is reality, okay, it matches reality, and then we go out and test for that, and it doesn't ever match reality, not even close, not even remotely close, ever. And there's not one observation that I've seen. I've been looking into this for 8 years, spoken to physicists, spoken to aerospace engineers, all kinds of people, and not one person ever has been able to present one observation, one empirical observation over distance that matches up with the globe, taking into account the necessities that would have to be taken into account, right? So yeah, it's crazy. The more you look into it, the less the globe will make sense. The more you look into it, the more wacky the globe concept becomes.
Yeah, but it seems like Nicola's most interested in what is, like, these guys who believe in the globe, even after they go out and they test it and see that it's not there. What's holding them to this belief without evidence? That's what it seems like. That's what Nicola's he's
yeah.
wondering.
It's a deep. I don't know, man. A deeply ingrained belief system, isn't it? And there's a lot of mocking and ridicule and as propaganda behind the flat Earth topic as well, and a lot of misinformation out there. So maybe they don't really have what they would consider a valid alternative option, because they haven't really looked at the true information regarding flat Earth and actually dug into the long distance observations and laser tests and all the infrared photography, all this kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it's ego-based. They'll get into some heated debates with a flat earther, and that'll sort of, they don't ever want to back down because their ego is running the show.